In this video, we will see how to connect core and HTML components using callbacks. A callback is a Python function that is automatically called by dash whenever an input component's property changes. Callback function is decorated with @app.callback decorator. So what does this decorator tell dash? Basically, whenever there is a change in the input component value, the callback function wrapped by the decorator is called, followed by the update to the output component children in the application layout. Let us look at the callback function skeleton. First, create a function that will perform operations to return the desired result for the output component. Decorate the callback function with @app.callback decorator. This takes two parameters. Output, this sets the result returned from the callback function to a component ID. And input, this sets the input provided to the callback function to a component ID. From here, we will connect the input and output to desired properties. We will see this in action with an example using the airline data. The use case here is to extract the top 10 airline carriers in the provided input year selected by the number of flights. Based on the input year, the output will change. First, we import the required packages. As seen before, we will import pandas, --core, and HTML components. The new entry here has -dependencies. From -dependencies, we will import input and output that we will use in the callback function. We read the airline data into the pandas data frame. We load our data frame at the start of the app, and it can be read inside the callback function. We will start designing the dash application layout by adding components. First, we will provide the title to the dash app using the HTML heading component, h1, and style it using the style parameter. Next, we will add an HTML division and text input core component. In dash, the inputs and outputs of the application are simply the properties of a particular component. In this example, our input is the value property of the component that has the ID input-year. By default, the value has 2010. We will update this value in our callback function. Lastly, we will add a division with a graph core component. The core component has bar-plot as ID, which we will update inside the callback function. Note the component IDs. We will add a callback decorator, app.callback. Input to the callback will be the component with ID, input-year, and property, value. Output to the callback will be the component with ID, bar-plot, and property, figure. Component_ID and component_property keywords are optional and are included here for clarity. Next, we will define the callback function get_graph. The entered year will be the input. Using the year, we extracted the required information from data. Finally, the application layout graph is updated. And lastly, we will run the application. This is the output of the code. Our initial input year is 2010. Note that as we update the year, the graph is updated for that year. Second example is a callback with two inputs. It is similar to the one input callback except for a few changes. We will add a division with one more text input with the component ID input-AB. Now we will add the new input and component ID input-AB to the decorator inside the list. Next, we will define callback function get_graph. This takes the entered year and the entered state as input parameters. Computation is performed to extract the information, and the application layout is updated with the graph. This is the output of the code. Our initial input year is 2010, and state is AL, which is Alabama. As I updated the year and state, you can observe that the graph is updated in parallel. Now let us start the lab.